Please turn to page 7 of the prayer book. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. We know supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world, to you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Thus free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. To these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of gods, protector's heart, to tip of this fresh, pure white, heaped girt like cloud, O Lobsang Drakpa, Dharma's omniscient king, pray come to this place with your disciples, in space ahead, on lion throne, lotus and moon, venerable Guru, smile brightly with delight, praise day hundreds of eons to spread doctrine, as supreme merit, field for my mind of faith, your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables, Your eloquent speech adorns, fortunate is your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit, non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, which I have heaped up since beginningless time, especially what has contradicted 3 vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice, shunned 8 mundane concerns, made life essence full. O protector from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. Venerable gurus from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast profound dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make venerable Lobsang Drakpa's essential teachings specially shine forever. Meek maids await their chen raising, remake yampe wang po jampel yang, dupung malu dom ze sang wedak, gang chen kei pei Urgyen song kapa, Lobsang Drakpa shapla so wadep. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remain steadfast. Homage to the exalted 3 jewels. Thus have I heard at one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the 5 aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a child of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows: Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the 5 aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. That is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomena. There is no I element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance and so forth up to no aging and death and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation and no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying upon the perfection of wisdom become manifest and complete Buddhas in a state of unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed, Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva, great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the spear, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, well said, O child of lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the host of the three places Dakinis. Akasamaracha Sadra Samarayape Akasamaracha.
Akasamaracha Sadra Samarayape.
Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Through the power of truth of the exalted three-jewel speech, may all on the side of negativity, such as the four maras, be stopped. May they become non-existent, and may they be pacified. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shanti Kuriya Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, freed from adverse harmful conditions. May all be conducive and perfect auspiciousness, bring happiness and well-being here, right now. Saji Paki Jukshing Metok Tramri Robling Ji Nide Gyan Badi Sangye Jingdu Choke Jonam La Janchu Padu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Dagi Chunyan Gepe Sonam Ki Drola Penche Sange Drupa Sho Jonan Choke Jonam La Janchu Padu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Dagi Chunyan Gepe Sonam Ki Drola Penche Sange Drupa Sho Jonan choke jonam la, janchu badu dagni gyapsu chi, dagi chunyen gipe sonam ki, jola penche sange drupa shu.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's cold. This weather's okay. Yeah. What do you say?
Damp.
What means damp?
Wet.
Oh, wet, damp. Yeah. Last week was 70s. The next day, snow. It's really like exactly same as our mind. We are very happy in the morning, and the evening we are just very upset. Right? At the moment change. Anyway, it's wonderful to study a little bit about our nature. We all just looking for something to happy, healthy, successful, right? Yes? No one wants trouble. But we don't always some problems, always. The Buddhism says most powerful is our mind. If you control our mind, then all the problems stop. If you didn't control our mind, we taught you so many different ways, like painkiller. When we get sick, we take that painkiller. When the power's finished, then we pain again. If you're able to complete recover our sickness, then like that, like example like that. Therefore, we taught you so many different ways, but a lot of things doesn't work. Many things we couldn't control our mind. Also, we didn't know the real root cause of the problems. Sometimes we start to, when we heard the Buddhism, we always talk problems, suffering, right? One thing is, why we have to talk about that all the time, suffering? Because if we recognize our problem or suffering, then we have some thought or motivation. We say, okay, I want to get out of this problem. Otherwise, if you don't recognize your problem, then you don't have any interest to free from the problems, right? Therefore, we always go to doctors, right? Even if we're not physically sick, that does just go check, okay, everything okay. Just make sure everything's okay. If there's something wrong, I want to get up. I want to take medicine. Like that. Therefore, we recognize our sufferings, problems, then we feel, oh, I don't want that. Then it's possible to get out of that. What method we can do that? Then it's able to free from that. Okay? Then main things in our meditation is most important. The meditation has two kinds, analytical meditation and concentration. In order to concentration, we need to analytical meditation. In order to analytical meditation, we do need more study. Without study, we cannot analytical meditation. Without analytical meditation, we cannot concentration. Without concentration, then we are not able to free from all the problems. Okay? This is like consequences. What you say? Consequences?
Consequences?
Yeah. It's correct?
Yep. The consequences.
Yeah, that's the consequences. Consequences.
Sequence.
Sequence.
Formation.
Formation.
More like sequence.
Sequence.
That's the sequence of meditation. You do first the analytical, and then based on what you discover, you realize from the analytical meditation, then you stabilize on that to work on what Geshe said, concentration meditation, or single-pointed concentration or stabilization.
Okay? Like example, if you want to professor from Harvard, I'm Professor Harvard, you put big name Harvard. In order to do, you need to that kind of knowledge, right? In order to that knowledge, you need to study very hard. You go to the Harvard, like the kids just running, go there, running, study. It's the same, in the worldly things, we need to very, high education, high level position, like the president, how they have to hard working, how many difficult situations they have to deal, find that's goal. Same, right? No one can put just, okay, you're that, one put that. Any kind of position, I'm just said the worldly things, we can, it's very similar. Buddhism practice, daily practices, very similar to go our daily, no one, okay, you just pray Buddha, and Buddha will just take you, it doesn't work. We don't believe that, there's, some exactly like any kind you want to be very famous, very, powerful person, any kind, you need to be very hardworking, right? In order to go there. Because therefore, like some, in order to go to the high level or the final goal, you need to step. You cannot fly that. It's a step by step. Like example, in order to you need to go to the professor, you need to go to finish college. In order to college, you need to go high school. Can you go without high school degree go to college? No one accept, right? In order to go to the high school, you need to do also first grade to 10th grade. Can you go to without study 5th grade, go to 10th grade? No. Like that, they're all like some level. Same as like Buddhism, we study training our mind, step by step. Okay? Okay, now we do meditation. Everyone loves meditation. We don't know what's meditation. There also, you heard or you see, there's so many kinds of different meditations. Someone says, okay, just stay there without thinking anything, this is meditation. Okay, you can say yes. Not the walking meditation, you just walk slowly, meditation. It's also good. We cannot say, oh, this is wrong, this is bad. But so many different kind of methods to meditation. Then someone is meditation looking at some piece rock, piece wood, piece flower, into meditation. Also you can meditation, but you only count your breathing meditation, out and out and out. Also you can meditation, you watch your mind. This is more powerful. It's very hard to, even in order to watch your mind, you need to identify your mind. It's very hard to find our mind. Someone says, where's your mind? How you say? In here? Is our mind here? What do you think? Maybe here? I'm serious. What do you guys think? In here? Is here? What do you think? Is our mind here? We say yes, the mind here also. Whenever you touch feeling, their mind, karo, sebu chabdeos.
It's perverted. The feeling is perverted by the mind, right?
Yeah, they shows mind there. Otherwise, in the, because the drug says no, drug,
Druggy.
yeah,
Tse.
semi-humors.
So usually we say that the tip of the hair, right, not the root, but the tip of the hair, there's no mind. It's not pervaded by mind because there's no feeling.
You can hold your head here, then here, just cut it off, big drop, you don't have any feeling. Because they come like that, Therefore, it's very hard to, someone say your heart's mind here, the sign say your heart here, your mind here, right? Because they also give reason, When you go to something else, you always look at that. It shows your mind here. Buddhism says your mind, man, like mind here, then like roots go to everywhere. Anyway, there are also so many different kinds, Karo, Deshin Dhammarammambo. So.
Yeah, there are many different explanations. I think when Geshe is saying mind is here, he's saying that maybe the abiding place, not that is the mind, but that the place within the body, where can you find the mind? Yeah.
Okay? There were some, high meditations, try to find your mind, then your meditation that is more powerful, more strong. Okay? Okay, now we do it different way. I like to, there was some new people. Try to just close your eyes. Relax. Usually there are only 7 or 8 different positions, it's very difficult. Just relax. 3 times, very deep breath. 당간도 소순되들이야. 산지가 고. 왜가 나머지 좀 당스.
So in the space in front of you, visualize the Buddha's form and in the aspect of radiating light.
저랑 산지 고 som다에 저랑 되오면은 네 왜. 가보시 좀 당스.
And if you're uncomfortable thinking of a Buddha's body, then you can think of, you can visualize merely aspect of radiating light.
아니 되네 그 어디 칠칠칠칠이 영화시 소설라트 단연냥 좀 당스.
And visualize that such a radiating peaceful light grows bigger and bigger and bigger and comes closer and closer into your body.
근데 단연냥 안에 소설을 생각만 좀 생각 못 집어로 작성서.
And that as this radiating light then pervades throughout your body, that the nature of the Buddha becomes inseparable from your own nature.
근데 내가 그랬는데 소설 지금 생각 가와다 저거 대화로 기도로 다시.
And as a result, that your mind is pervaded by peace and happiness and joy.
대라 성부터는 까맣지 되셔서.
And holding that in your mind, then try to stay within that state for a minute or so.
대 맞제바 저거래서. 맞제바.
And don't forget that object, that feeling. Try to hold on to that state of mind.
아니 암조고 시바 고월에 시바이보다 있는 연화 그런 맞제바지.
And even if you hear other sounds, other thoughts come through your mind, try to hold on to that mental state of peace and joy and happiness, realizing or thinking that your nature is that of the same nature of the Buddha's.
Then again the light or the feeling become light, more bigger and bigger, come out of your body, spread for all entire world, and hit the all mother sentient beings. feel all mother beings have also same as feeling you are happy, peace, joy.
And that light that had radiated and emanated towards all sentient soul corners of the world now grows smaller and smaller and grows back and comes back into yourself. And that as it recedes slowly, slowly, and that as it recedes slowly, slowly into yourself, then that it gradually dissipates. And that you yourself, whatever you're feeling, whether it be happiness, sadness, pain, suffering, joy, all of that also gradually dissolves into nothingness, into emptiness. And at this point you think that whatever appears is mere appearance to your mind, but it doesn't appear, it doesn't exist as it appears to you. And by understanding this, that your mind grows even more peaceful, at ease. And that with that inner peace and tranquility comes inner joy and happiness.
Okay, then think about it. I never ever lose that feeling happy or peace, compassion mind. Okay, that's good enough. Otherwise, someone sleep. Okay, this is all the one technique to meditation. Now you can do so many kind of meditations. Okay? This is just one very brief, easy meditation. Okay? Then what are we going to talk about? Let me go to text anyway. This text is for the combine the Indian masters.
Composed by?
Guru, combine
Ziba.
Zopa.
So it's composed by
the
an Indian master.
Indian master. The Indian master who composed this one, he's very, very high level scholar. But people doesn't recognize he's a very high level scholar or not. They say, usually Buddhism say, don't judge others. Judge.
Yeah.
We don't know the other person's knowledge or what kind of knowledge they have. Maybe better than you. Even that doesn't show up, but maybe better than you. They would don't judge. Because the one time he's from India, the monastery, another monk study very hard all the time, but he always just sleep. People doesn't see his study. Then they're called they call the nickname Dishisumbawa. You know, Dishisumbawa. Kalasaya, Nikuya, Tobadaya. He knows three.
So they give him the nickname of one who knows the three, and the three types of activities are eating, sleeping, and going to the restroom.
They call that name. You know, they really didn't know he's really scholar. Then, you know, that they're trained, because you have to teach you one day.
So, in Nalanda,
Nalanda, yeah.
So at the renowned Nalanda Monastery of India, there was a tradition of taking turns to give a teaching on the teaching throne.
Then also the monks make for him to difficult, you know, they put very high throne. Even he cannot climb there. Then everyone said, okay, tomorrow our Nishitan Baba is going to teach. We all check what he's going to teach. He doesn't say anything, he always sleeping. And then, you know, everyone just exciting something to do. Then next day they started teaching time, then he just came, then he just put his hand like this. The throne become very slow. Then it was a little bit shocked what he did. Then he, on the throne, because sometimes, you know, you guys say, okay, why the Tibetan monks have to throne? You know, why they don't sit on the chair, you know, just same level. Because we say whatever you teach is the Buddha's teaching. Therefore, the respect for that Buddha's teaching, you have to see the throne. Not just, okay, I want to fancy place, not like that. Therefore, you know, when he said, okay, what you guys want to know? You want to know something to Buddha already taught, or you want something new? Then I don't have nothing to share you something Buddha never taught. Then they say, we need something new, you know.
And so, of course, it has to be something that the Buddha has taught. It has to be a commentary to the Buddha's teachings, but they wanted a new commentary.
Right? And then
and so then, because of that request, then he began to teach what is now has been written down as the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life.
And there are 11 chapters. He has 10 chapters. You know, Tandiga Kolkani, Zobakol, and the Sambayabo, Chanchoka Sem Jadanko, so Sem Tapo Jadanko, Songo as well.
And so within these chapters, and he discusses the awakening mind of bodhicitta, the altruistic thought, and how to generate that within one's own mental continuum, and how to guard it and make it continue to increase it. He wrote on the chapter on patience, on which we are about to study, and so forth. And before he finished teaching this text, then he kind of flew into the air. And so then, at that time, there were others who were of very high realization, such as here the Hinaya Arhats and so forth. And so those who could fly also flew after him. Okay. And so then, the Master Shantideva, then as he was flying, and then he had those who were of the higher realized masters who could also fly with him. As he was flying, then he continued to teach the remaining parts of the text, and flew to another place, and Geshe said he flew to South India. Now we just say Southern India, but it's not for sure, it's not for fact whether it was South India that he flew to.
Yes.
Does anyone know at what point he started to fly?
The book doesn't say that, but that is true, that is just what you not to do.
It doesn't. It's not stated exactly at which point in the composition he began to fly, but the main reason for his flying was to eliminate whatever doubts or kind of suspicions or wrong ideas, negative thoughts that might have still be residing in the minds of the disciples there. So to kind of
아니 그 배자들 람필람께 지금 다 저랑 지지콜 따서나 배 셴마다 따셨어 그 니는 티어 들어와 배 셴마다 따셨어 네 저랑 니콜라 마와하고 거는 배 셴마 유텔 따셨어.
And then as he was flying and teaching, he said, if you understood the meaning of from these teachings on the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, then please go on and now study other texts. And then he gives recommendations for other texts to be studied after reading this.
아니 그거를 배 셴마 가와에서 가나라 그래서 깨져 버렸어. 다 가와에서.
And then so the other disciples who were flying, chasing after him, and said, what other texts? Where can we find these texts?
아니 코란 예사 강반나도 가와는 뒤샤였어. 쇼업 남조. 자갈에 대가 쇼에서 말와 신신의 날로지 신레벨. 되네가는 트니 것도 가지고 룩샤에 들어가서.
So he said that in his room where he was staying at the monastery, that he had composed these other texts on leaves of I guess he didn't have paper back then, but on bark. What do you call that? Papyrus or sheets? Sorry? Papyrus, yeah. So on pieces of papyrus he had composed and just kind of stored them all over his room, and so you can find them there.
어디서 그다 내가 되다 명시한 동거에 말이야. 그 내가 그 가디나 샤주고 쌤다. 잠바다 이제 또 공대가 들어왔어.
So even though others couldn't see him, whenever he was, what others merely saw is his lying down and sleeping. During that time, his mind was always absorbed in contemplating, analyzing on loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta.
Okay. In order to meditation, it's good if that even you tired, you can just lay down also you can meditation. But main thing is concentration our mind. Okay, you can meditation everywhere. But don't meditation on driving, okay? Yeah, the one time we have one student, he meditation the driving, he got very big accident. It's very dangerous. Yeah, you cannot meditation you are driving, but you know any place. Okay, the meditation is very work like that. Therefore he composes. This is His Holiness. Then Tiruk Jeva the water, Tiruk Jeva is sure.
No.
When this composed.
So Geshe is asking, when was this text composed? Does anybody know which century?
After that, then when you have time, you don't have to read the whole chapter. You can read the fourth chapter, it's the whole chapter. Or you have to be more patient. Are you a patient person? Are you very patient? You're not really patient. Someone said, okay, I don't have time that. Right? He said, everything is fine. When we have done more than enough to argument with our angry or religions. How about that? How about that? It's not difficult to understand. 10 chapters.
Ninth chapter.
9 chapters is difficult, but another ones. It's not okay, not very difficult. Especially the 6th chapter, not very difficult. Conversation. We always explain for angry and then okay, how about that? How about that? Conversation. Then you read. Then just don't read that. Think that. But into practice. Otherwise, we study all the time. Yeah, you are with a scholar. Yes, that's so you are a scholar person. Your mind is always. Maybe you're more scholar, you're more ego. Oh, yeah. This happens. Usually, who has more education has more ego. It's true? Yeah, like that. Therefore, if you don't put into practice, this happens. Also, especially in Tibetan code, Chupa Chu, Baku,
So there's Tibetans, as an example of the danger of having your mind become inured to Dharma. Is, for example, Tibetans will carry butter in leather, in hide. And so it is said that the butter or oil can soften any leather except the leather that contains butter, right? Because the leather or the hide becomes inured to the qualities of the oil or the butter. Yeah.
Therefore, if you study, you know many things, but you don't put it into practice, you just, your mind just go to, okay? Like that, okay? I'm not talking too much of that. Okay, therefore, study this book, much you can, put it into practice. It's really help. You need to learn meditation. Think about that. So nothing happens. No one can give you, okay, this is your happiness. No one give you. Even the Amazon, they cannot deliver you. Otherwise, everything you want, you can go to Amazon. They can deliver you. But peace, happy, relax, that doesn't deliver. Even they deliver them to some medicines. They shut down all the channels. Okay? Therefore, in order to happy, in order to relax, we need to inner peace. Okay? Start for our own heart. Okay, like that. Maybe I'm talking too much. Sorry that. Then we go into this chapter. This chapter talk about the patience. Okay? It's also more, conversation. Each words have different reasons to. We do not allow to angry. They say because. The main thing is that if you get mad, you lose your.
So if you get angry, then you lose out on many opportunities to practice patience.
Okay. Now before that, today we are, I think, verse number
103.
103. Mm-hmm. Before that we talk about, because I'm getting mad my enemy. Enemy is a little bit something there, a little bit too strong for with stages. How about you guys? What do you call her enemy means? Sometimes it's too
strong.
Yeah, too strong.
So when you see the word or hear the word enemy, what kind of an image arises in your mind? Is there
someone holding a big gun?
Is there a very wrathful kind of an image, like someone holding a gun or a knife ready to kill you? But in Tibetan, we don't. That's not what we're referring to when we say the word enemy. So, in Tibetan, whoever makes you angry, that someone is considered your enemy. So if you think of it that way, then so your husband, your wives, your partners, your children, and so forth, can become your enemy, right? When they make you angry.
대단한 거, he's my body, he's not my enemy. think of the things that integral this stages person.
So perhaps with the English connotation of enemy, it doesn't quite fit in this context of explanation about when we use the word enemy. But in this context, when Geshe uses the word enemy in referring to those who might create the conditions for you to become angry, that's what he's talking about, not someone who is going to be killing you or doing harmful things to you in a very harmful way.
Before they say, okay, it's very, they say, okay, it's not good because he or she, cost to me to my name, fame, positions. Then they have so many debates. Okay. Then after, no, okay. Then I'm give up that. But he or she, caused me to create a merit.
So Geshe is referring to in the previous verses that we covered last week, a reason that one might say it's okay, it's suitable for me. It's righteous for me to become angry at someone if they are becoming an obstacle to my gaining fame or recognition, right? And then, so to refute that reasoning, then in the text it says, no, actually that's not okay, and we went over the reasons last time, right? And then the mind that wants to get angry then gives a second reasoning and say, okay, I can accept your argument against my first reasoning, but the second reasoning here is that, well, it's righteous for me to get angry at that person who's making me angry because that person is blocking me from being able to gain merit or create virtues. And so then, second response says, even in that case, it's not okay to become angry at someone because that person might be hindering your practice of gaining merit or other virtuous practices. I think that's where we left it off last week.
Okay, that's right. This could really yabororo. Almenda them tanga chuchewal pachichena nga konosadna. Tenga don't do somebody was.
And so that seems like a correct reason, right? I mean, if what we really want to do as Dharma practitioners is to practice virtue and gain merit and so forth, and if someone is becoming a hindrance or obstructing us from doing that, then of course it wouldn't be okay to get angry at such a person.
Okay.
But, ... it's coming.
근데 다 나도 손은 가진 싸고 그러잖아. 가진 가서 손은 싸고 그러나 나도 다 대화 용어치대. 기부 용어치대 싸고 왔어.
So then if we ask the question, well, why should we gain merit? Why should we practice virtues? Well, the answer is in order to gain happiness, right? In order to be happy.
근데 너 다 되나? 그냥 고로사요 말했어.
And so therefore, you shouldn't get angry. If you want to be happy, you shouldn't get angry.
그러와. 근데 다 저런 게 손놈 싸워를 같이 책은 누구 사람이 되라 고로사나? 저런 거 가지고 손놈들 냠도 그러면 와차도 그래 들어와.
And so if you get angry at someone because you're saying that person is preventing me from gaining merit and practicing virtues, then your collection of virtues and merit will diminish, by getting angry.
Okay. 다시 올라간 자도 숨대 줄로 들어와.
So let's first read out loud verse 103. So I think we have two different versions, translations going on here. So we'll first begin with the older version, verse 103 on page 70. If due to my own failings I am not patient with this enemy, then it is only I who am preventing myself from practicing this cause for gaining merit. Now in this other translation it says, if on account of my own fault I do not practice patience here, then I myself have created an obstacle when grounds for merit had been presented.
그래서 다들 다 가때란 게 가때 다나 ranchunji ndalazo barmaje naas 다 소주 다 내놓는 가랑이 쥐은게 있어 와 가랑게 내차 다 셔다당 공조 쥐은지 아니 되게 쥐은지네 아니 다 소소라 빠지 챙겨들라는 저와 셰마도가 있나스.
So in the first two lines is saying, if by my own fault, right, my own fault here, I'm not able to practice patience with those who are making me angry, right?
수려와 상가서 딱 말한 게 쪼대다가 콘도 좀 까도 문제 상도 챙겨 봤어.
And so, of course, we all ourselves had experienced, or reflected that, I was not able to control my anger, right? So what does that reveal? That actually we ourselves think it was my fault that I wasn't able to control my anger, right?
들이 지나 콘도 라딩이 지나 콘도 사르게 요 녀와나 봐 가와게나 되게 지나 손음 사게 지시게 그래서.
And so whoever presents that opportunity for you to practice patience by creating condition for your anger to arise, so that person, that situation becomes like the source for you to be able to practice patience, right?
되네나 되게 손을 계속 말때 손은 문제래 되나 저한테 팬 저한테 콘도 사요 말이지.
And therefore, that kind of a person is not someone who is obstructing you from practicing the merit of being patient. The person is actually giving you the opportunity, is the source or the cause for you to be able to practice the merit of practicing patience.
그래서 되게 말에 천한 게 천하게 버려서.
And so therefore, the fault does not lie on the person who becomes a cause, a condition for you to practice patience by giving you the opportunity to become angry or to block that anger from arising, right? It's rather your own fault, our own fault of not being able to control our anger, that we are not able to practice patience.
좋아. 그냥 만두 삼나 만두 셈게 시대에 미션방은 총로도 삼고요. 왔거든요.
So the way we think is that, here we are sitting and we're in peace and happiness, right, in a state of equilibrium or whatever, and that someone else comes and then disturbs that, makes us angry.
이나 삼에 테레 그거다 깨져다 있나 소수 셈투에도 소수 셈투는 소수 셈부 대화도 잠송으로 왔어.
So we might think that, but then the main thing is that we have to be able to control our minds, right? So no matter what external conditions arise, that we have to control our minds to practice patience and maintain that peace, inner peace, and so forth.
소수 셈 만들어야나 파주 그림까지 나가는 시대들 놔도 말이지.
And so if you're not able to control your own mind, then no matter what other people say or what external conditions are, you will not be able to.
미션방에 빠지지도 말이지.
So if you are able to control your mind, then no matter what others or external conditions or people might do, they will not be able to disturb your inner peace.
그래서 나 미션방 칼라서는 만들어 배우면도 소소 칼라 좋은 소소 사고도 왔어.
So, for example, when someone else is eating food, it's not going to help our hunger if we're hungry, right? We have to eat the food ourselves in order to be free from, eradicate the suffering of hunger.
나도 몇년 냠도 해가지고 네가 나도 나서 집안 나가는데 그 매상 나도 배우면도 나는 사고도 왔어.
So, for example, if two people are equally sick, the other person taking medicine is not going to help your illness. You have to take medicine yourself to be free from your own illness.
Okay? like tendeita nganzo nambe chunen sozo lega chegore sozo gone sozo lega chegore.
And so when we practice the Buddha Dharma, it's we ourselves who need to do the hard work.
Okay.
Someone else can.
산지가 송어서 내내 켈라 타빌 람 땡식 타와 라라라레 시브샤스.
And so the Buddha told us that I can only show you the path to liberation, but liberation itself is in your own hands.
안 산지가 늪송아로 왔을 거예요. 쓰시오. 돈은 두바치 뭐듯이 지난게 누가된 전화중에 줘요 말이지. 내 또바 전화라 봐줘요 말이지. 오늘 이 전화 봐가지고 주의 대받는 좋은지.
And the Buddha also taught that he cannot wash away our sins and sufferings and so forth, and he cannot transfer by osmosis his knowledge to us. And how can he help us if we were to ask? It's by showing us the path to liberation.
제랑도 되자요 그랬어. 아니 제랑도 이제 동아대 미션박 발레요 말이었으나
And so if we were to ask, is there a way that you can take on the suffering of others, then what would your answer be?
멤버스 샤치단에 제랑에서 나서서 발레로요 말이었어.
And so, for example, when doctors perform surgery to remove some illness, aren't they taking away your suffering?
Yes, right. He said yes, right. Huh? It's we need to honor that. And then go 나서서 고고는 가지 제랑에 나서서 동안 고고 그 샤치단 용이는 콜레로 was.
So when he is removing that tumor or that source of illness from your body, then he is removing illness. Can you not say that? But in this discussion, when we talk about removing suffering, there are two different types of suffering. There's the physical suffering and the mental suffering. So with the physical suffering that arises from our body, of course there are external methods to help remove and alleviate those sufferings and illnesses and so forth. But when it comes to the inner suffering, the mental suffering, then it's only our own mind that can work to remove our own mental suffering.
What do you think?
So for example, when our minds are really disturbed and perturbed, when someone gives good advice, right, then by hearing that, then our minds might calm down, might become a little more peaceful, right? Now, what the other person said might become a condition, a supporting condition, but really the one that did the work was your own mind that calmed down, right?
Okay, that thing that
and so in short, in brief, the main meaning of this stanza, verse 103, is that the person who creates those obstacles to your getting married, who becomes the source of for you to become angry, that person is not an obstacle to your practicing patience or gaining the merit by practicing patience. That person is actually the cause, right, the condition for you to be able to practice patience and thereby gain merit. And if you were to become angry, it's not the other person's fault, it's actually your own fault because you weren't able to control your anger and practice patience. So we're so habituated to always pointing the finger outside to the other person. We say he did it, she did it. We're so used to that. Right? But we need to think about it. We need to rehabituate our minds to think a different way.
Okay?
So now let's read out loud verse 104. First in the older version translation. If without it something does not occur, and if with it it does come to be, then since this enemy will be the cause of patience, how can I say that the enemy prevents it? So then in the other translation, if one thing does not exist without another, and does exist when the other is present, then that other thing is its cause. How can that be called a hindrance?
Okay.
And so then, since that's the case, the one that causes the harm is actually the cause for us to practice patience, right? And so if whatever that okay, so this is a logic on cause and effect. So if the cause is not there, it's not possible for the result to arise from that cause, right? So the first line says, if that which, if the cause is not there, then how can that which depends on it to be able to come into existence ever come to be? How can the result come to rise, ripen into a result?
Okay. And
And so then the second line says, what if that cause is present, then the result is going to come as its result, right? So if the person who is causing harm, which is the cause or the source of patience, because it's by practicing patience against that harm that you subdue anger, right? And so you need that source in order to be able to practice patience yourself. And so that which is the cause or the source of patience, how could that at the same time be an obstacle or a hindrance to patience, right? So an obstacle, a cause for something, and something that obstructs it or hinders it, those are two opposite things. They cannot be, two cannot be the same thing, right? You cannot have a common locus. So if it's a cause for patience, then it is necessary that it's not a hindrance to patience, right? And so if that person who is creating the cause for you to be angry, if that actually is a source for you to be able, an opportunity for you to be able to practice patience, then how could it be that that person or that situation is a hindrance to you creating the merit of practicing patience? Does that make sense? So for example, cause is something that helps the result to ripen, to come about. Cause for that is not something that blocks that result from happening. It's like the helper, right? Okay. Condition that helps for that result to ripen, right? For example, your parents your parents' bodies are your substantial cause for your own body, right? And so your parents' body, they're not hindrances to your birth, right? They're actually helpers to your having taken birth, like that.
Okay.
And so we're going to think about this a little bit. Okay. So meditate on it.
Okay.
So we're going to think about this by applying the analogy of an apple. 소소 apple he said, think that there is in front of you an apple. But I thought he said, think of yourselves as apples. He said, think in front of you that there's an apple. For example, there are apples in front of you. So now when you think about the apple, think about where the apple comes from before it came to the store, right? So first there had to be a seed for the apple tree that it had to be planted in the soil, and then that all these other conditions such as water, fertilizer, sunlight, heat, and so forth had to then nurture that seed for it to then sprout and then to become a tree that then bore the fruit of apple, right? So those conditions, such as water, sunlight, soil, all those things, were those obstacles to the apple, or were they helpers, causes, supporting conditions for the apple to come into existence? So you don't have to say it out loud, but in your mind, it doesn't dawn on your mind that yes, it really is true that those are the conditions that help to bring about the existence of the apple. They're not the obstacles that hinder, right, the existence of the apple. And so without thinking whether this is a Buddhist talk or a Buddhist perspective or not, I mean, does that make sense to you, apart from, yes?
So this sort of parallel you're drawing that like the natural state of the apple, akin to people, is like patience. That is the natural state as the causes for an apple to grow healthy, sunlight, water, etc. An apple forms certain processes.
Right. Maybe apple being the result, not so much a natural state, but that apple is a result that had to rely on causes, on conditions to come into existence, right? And so those causes and conditions, such as the seed first having to be planted and then be nurtured with proper type of soil, moisture, heat, and sunshine, and so forth, those other conditions, such as the soil, heat, moisture, all those things, were those supporting conditions for the result of apple to be able to come about, or were they hindering obstacles for the bearing for the apple to come into existence? And so then the parallel here is, if in the same way that apple is a result, and patience within our own mind, if that is a result, right, that patience, practicing of that patience has to depend also on causes and conditions, right, supporting conditions. And so if someone, the patience is what? It's actually not getting angry in face of harm, right, in face of conditions that could make your anger rise. That's the way patience is defined in this context. I see that you have a little doubt going on with your eyebrows, but so in that context, if patience, in order to practice patience, one needs to practice patience by turning away from anger. So anger, someone who is giving you that opportunity of presenting anger, for anger to arise in your mind, without that opportunity to become angry, there's no way to turn against it and practice patience, right? And so in that way, the person who presents the opportunity for anger to arise in your mind is creating the supporting conditions for you to be able then to produce the result of patience, right? So that's where the parallel is.
You got it?
Do you get the parallel? Do you understand
Yes,
the parallel?
I do.
Okay.
Do you guys this is we have to do it. This is we have
So when you think about it, does it make sense to you? Like, is it right? So do you guys, whether or not you consider yourselves Buddhist or not, outside of the religious talk of Buddhism, do you accept, does it make sense that without cause there cannot be result? Right?
This is science, right? There is a ton of
and so therefore it is based on that principle of causality. The one who causes harm, the one who helps create the conditions for anger to arise in your mind, is actually creating the conditions for you to be able to practice patience, and it's therefore cause for your patience, not hindrance to your patience. And so this is when you're first practicing patience, at the time of first practicing. And then of course, if one is extremely habituated and an expert at practicing patience, you don't need no enemies can harm you, right? No one can touch you really at that point. But for beginners like ourselves, first trying to really practice patience in face of anger and so forth, then this is the practice. And so, in Buddhist talk, speech, we use the word karma and result, right? Len, re, le usually is action or karma, je is result. But then when we talk about it from everyday normal, worldly perspective, it's usually cause and effect, right? If there's a cause for something to happen, then it will bear its fruit, the effect, the result, cause and result, causality. And so one of the reasons that we prove things in Buddhist epistemology is that because there is result, we can infer that there was a cause that gave rise to that result, right? Result is like the proof that there was a cause for that, right?
Okay? Yes.
So we should rejoice in the fact that there are obstacles.
Yeah.
If you're a true practitioner, patient,
you
yeah.
practitioner,
Everything that comes your way is an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
It's an obstacle. It's a way to practice everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity, but for us to
It's hard to think like that.
It's
though.
hard to do,
Never,
yes.
Who think? You can't
Yeah.
go around and.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why slowly, right?
Takes slowly.
First, yeah. Even the concept is new, isn't it? But you get used.
다야 딘데가블이야 조조 sabta 마치나야 고알론저와 아니 조와고는 미징야가 누가 드시는가 대도 대 말했어. 콘로 마서 지들라가 갑자기 자오랬어. So 그런 마사지.
And so, but it's important here to draw the distinction and not misunderstand the point here, which is to fight against anger, to subdue one's anger. It doesn't mean that don't be. It doesn't mean be a doormat to what anyone might do to you physically. If they're beating you or something, it's not like saying be completely passive and don't do anything and be like a doormat. You know, it's saying control your mind's reaction to that. Right? Control the anger. Practice patience in face of anger that is about to react in reaction to that harm.
Okay.
But you can still, apply skillful methods, and come up with solutions to that situation without getting angry, right?
It's not easy. We need to think about more practice, more patience. Someone hit your car, what do? You get mad, right? Why you gotta get mad? You don't angry, just explain. Call the insurance. Because we say, why I'm not allowed to angry? Because you angry, then you lose your peace. Peace. The reason is merely just to talk about yourself. Not you are very kind for other person. You cannot anger them. Not like that. Because you need to keep your own peace. Don't angry. Okay? Okay. Then sholoka jada nga diga ani pago neji diga chirala nawa jiwa kawashini pento koresaya rokson koreswa.
네, 한번 찔러. Okay, so let's then read verse 105. First in this version. A beggar is not an obstacle to generosity when I am giving something away, and I cannot say that those who give ordination are an obstacle to becoming ordained. In the other version. For a supplicant is not a hindrance to generosity at the time of almsgiving, and when a person who bestows an ordination arrives, he is not a hindrance to the ordination.
Okay, this is a very difficult practice. This kind, okay, it's not easy, but it's possible if we do. Okay, then the parents, 저런 게 심바 동거에 와 있나? 근데 심바 동사가 너무 와도 들렸네. 저런 심바 가로 주 심바 동을 계제 말에 코페도 와라. 저런 깔래 좀 로마가 와지 비세. 저런 배가 태도 거로 왔어. 저런 배가 들렸네. 저런 심바 동을 가로 내제 말에 펜도 와셔.
So for example, this is an example to illustrate the reasoning that was presented before. When you are looking to practice generosity, then the beggar or the person who's seeking is your cause, is a condition for you to be able to practice the generosity of giving, right? And it's actually really kind to you if such a person, a beggar, happens to come your way, because then he or she is saving you from actively going out and searching for someone to be the object of your offering and generosity, right? So if a beggar, for someone who's practicing generosity, if a beggar all of a sudden appears in front of you, that's like a blessing in disguise. It's a very, very helpful situation, right? So that's what it's referring to here. And then the second example is for someone who is seeking to become ordained, right? So in order to receive ordination, one needs many supporting conditions. For example, the abbot and other elders, ordained elders who are present to be witnesses to your receiving those vows and so forth, right? And so all those, the abbot and the other elders, they are, conditions, causes for you to receiving the ordination, not obstacles to your receiving ordination, right?
Okay? 배 찬다고 하시는 것도 배시다. 배 가셔도. 그러나 가라든 것도 조제를 펜토제를 봐. 조제고 늦어 말아 봐.
So for example, food is a condition for our stomach to become full, right? Not an obstacle to our stomach becoming full.
수보든 조제를 봐. 그래서 사다야 보시나?
And so if you know the correct way of the right foods to eat, then food is actually a supporting condition for taking care of our health and body. Of course, if you don't know how to eat properly, then eating the wrong foods can become harmful to you. But, on the assumption that you know how to eat proper foods and eat the right foods, then eating food can become a supporting condition for your body and health.
Right? 나도 가디는 미그러나 장장사 동그러나 장장사는 아니 전부 잘 오르었어.
And so, but if rather you go always to McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts and eat that all the time, then of course that becomes the wrong kind of support, rather for you to become fat and have high cholesterol.
오케이. 삼점은 나한테 아무도 좀 못해서 고기를
But then, of course, sometimes we do need to have some sweet substance, right? Our body also needs characteristics of the sweet foods as well.
베테나지 소설이야 그리고 다 농때 되게 강에 때 되게. 네. 소설 때 냠리 셈바이나 소설 가디나 셈바 주요 이제 잘 오르고.
And so similarly, those who present us with opportunities by giving us by annoying us or making us angry, they're actually giving us the chance to be able to practice patience. And so it is a helpful condition, not an obstacle.
Okay? Okay. Okay. Now one more verse we can go, okay? 다 자다 주디 가르나.
So let's first read verse 106.
Okay.
There are beings in this world, but scarce are those who inflict harm. For if I have not injured others, few beings will cause me harm. In the other version, beggars are easy to meet in the world, but malefactors are difficult to find. For no one will wrong me when I do no wrong.
내가 도와서 사는 것은 내가 이제 야오자식 문스러워.
He said he has a little doubt about this and doesn't know if he can explain this.
지때는 호모만 모여서 사는 거는 강대하러 왔어.
So, for example, in the world there are many beggars, right? There are beggars everywhere.
내가 시기에 다들 공부를 해서 나한테 공부만 하는 강대도 왔어.
So here in the text it says, but those who make us angry are few. But then actually that's not the case, right? we meet those where we meet. There are plenty of those who make us angry, right?
In today's world.
근데 내세라 아니 너가 시부터 때려 공부를 해서 대단하다 안에 소설라 팔 근데 변화단 내 나도를 자기서 말해. 내 상주 선보도 자기서 봐. 상주 선보도 팔라 펜도 장자지 너희 치는 마치와 있나 콘돌라 내가 징에게 아니 다들 용거 말하고 왔어.
And so this really must be in reference to the Bodhisattvas, maybe not someone like us in our present world, in our present condition, situation. For those Bodhisattvas who are trained in benefiting others and not harming them and so forth, it would be really difficult for them to find those who would actively come and harm them or make them angry, right? And so for those types of practitioners, to find beggars, especially can you imagine in like India centuries ago, to find beggars are very easy, but to find someone who would purposefully come and harm them or give them conditions for their anger to arise would be very rare, right? Much more difficult. Because if we don't harm others, of course they're not going to harm us back, usually, right? So is that something that you can accept, maybe? No. We're waiting for that no. Thank you.
That's good. Okay. Yeah, 내 배셔나지는 내 상주 선보도 야도 배셔 나는 내가 가지나가 상주 선보도 아니 몇 파줘라 펜단자 도면 내가 주는 맞으면 나는 코트 코로랑 말랑도 왔어. 다 나도면이야 파줘라 펜단자 다다는 파진간도 수내와도 용 말쓰라.
So in the text, it's really referring to those bodhisattvas, who are skilled, first of all, in practicing patience, right? And who are skilled in engaging solely beneficial activities for others, right? Benefiting others. So someone like that, of course, for others to purposefully come and try to harm them would be rare because they're going to be grateful towards those who are really beneficial towards them. Not only that, even if such someone were to come and act in a way that could be annoying, those bodhisattvas would already be kind of trained in practicing patience and having a very good, kind-hearted mind. So it would be more difficult for anger to arise then it would be for someone like us, right? We might get easily annoyed, but such a bodhisattva, such a practitioner, would be more, would be less likely to be angry or become annoyed, yeah? And so,
배는 아니 파 내가 듣도 마셔 와이나 아니 주 노 용 말이지.
and apart never,
너무
chetumai,
진 싸워니 마셔 와이나. 듣도 주. 너 주니 마셔나 주 노 용 말이지.
So in the text it is said that if you don't commit even the slightest bit of harm, like the smallest particle worth of harm to others, because that's the cause, right? Harming others is the cause for harm to return to you, for you to experience harm. So if you never create harm or inflict harm on others, then it's likewise it's likely that harm is someone else inflicting harm on you is not going to come easily your way. Right? It's going to be a rare occurrence that others will come and harm you.
다 저도 들어나 정말 미시만 내가 주냐나 저도 랭가리오스. 저도 미시만 발은 내가 진용해서 저도 랭가리오스.
So Geshe said, if you were to ask you, have you inflicted harm or harmed others? Have you had the experience of harming others?
Yes, right. Honestly, yes, right. 다처럼 내가 저처럼 한 고전에 지와 있는데 저랑 한 먹으는 지와 있으네.
And when you happen to inflict
저랑
harm,
공로 요백 나들이 콜라고 섬.
in that when you're recalling that experience of having harmed someone else, now think, did you do that with the intention to harm them, or did you do it without the intention? Maybe a mix? Come on, sometimes, let's be honest.
내가 당보더라. 이봐서 뭐들 당보값래. 당보 되게 다 고려라 이럴 때면 이봐서 뭐도 그만데 당에 그 받치는만 용만 가도 정말 당보값을 썼다.
당보값?
내서 당보용을 값래.
That 담이라.
내가 또 돼.
So the kulomeba necessarily.
kulomeba 다 지금 그래서 계시야 당당 남지 때나 하시는 거지. 봐줘
And so Geshe would like to first like for you to kind of bring to mind an instance where you didn't have a clear intentional motivation to inflict harm, to cause harm, hurt someone else. And at the very beginning, maybe you were just talking about something without intentionally having any thought to harm anyone at all, right? And that happened to affront somebody.
야무나 수주고 삼수 된바. 되게 삼수 미 봐줘라 말하네. 아니 주 된딩부터 나와.
Or maybe your opinion or your perspective, your way of thinking or doing something just didn't agree with the other person, and so then they got angry at you and they reacted to you in a negative or harmful way instead, right?
가서 코로서도 나 남지 망아체 소속을 냠도 도딩도 솔로 살고 그랬어.
So usually the object of our anger, the ones who make us angry or annoy us, are usually those who are closest to us, right? Within our circle of friends and family and loved ones, or co-workers and so forth.
근데 당부 내가 된 것도 그걸 나도 망아체 다 자자 고주 띵어도 파지 끊어요 말은 게 코로라고 좀 파지고 말했어.
And so probably about 90% of the time when such situations arise, usually we don't have the intention to harm or to hurt that other person who might become hurt by our actions or of our speech.
야무나 콜라 펜도치하게 치대인 봐. 야무나 수주고 쌈들이 나치. 근데 따고 맞는 것도 봐도 도로 와서.
It's either because we want to actually help them, or because we're merely expressing our own perspective or our own, opinion on something, and then because your viewpoints aren't similar or they might conflict, that the other person might become hurt or might become angry by what you said or what you did, right?
아니 되네다도 같이 들을 얘기도 되네 같이 되네 마도 봐주고 강 남자 대장자 녀대와나 같이 나도 같이 봐주고 나도 코로상 말 맞아.
And so usually it happens like that, right? I mean, if it's when differences in opinions, differences in perspectives, without necessarily intentionally harming one another, but it's just because of these differences in thoughts and that such conflicts might arise between people, between loved ones. If on the other hand, if we were to all just listen to each other patiently without getting angry, without objecting, without fighting, arguing back and so forth, then probably there would be no opportunity for anger to arise, right?
Okay, I don't know what my example is. Yes. Okay, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
So if we're supposed to kind of look at these things challenges that come up as opportunities, then the person who's giving you the challenge is, at that point, getting bad karma because they're hurting you, or they're affecting your mind negatively, but they're also doing you a favor at the same time. So how does that? You can almost say to yourself, well, if I offend someone, I'm helping them. You know what I mean? Like how does that? Where does that line go?
Well, I think. Well, okay. Did you?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. So Geshe said at first I can speak what came to my mind, which is that remember first and foremost that this is in relation to one's own practice. So it's not like I'm going to purposefully, unless you know that the person that you're dealing with is a real practitioner and is looking for opportunities to practice. So knowingly, if you have the intention to, I'm not really angry at them. I don't really want to hurt them, but I just want to give them an opportunity for them to test how their practice of patience is coming along, right? But you don't mean it. That's a different story, right?
Yeah, not like that.
But that's not what we're talking about here, right? Here we're talking about in relation to our own minds, we being the practitioner, and then facing whatever external conditions or situations or people involved, how to deal with that, right? And so then, it's in relation to what kind of mind we generate and what kind of practice we are engaging in. Is it practice of anger, retaliating harm in face of harm? Or is it practicing patience, right? Non-retaliation to someone else's harm, right?
배차잖아. 저는 꼬마 좋아했나? 꼬마한테 저는 꼬마 줘도 봐줘야만 배도 어려워서는 꿈이라도 꼬마 기라이로 왔어. 이게 콜을 배도 와서도 꼬마 그 용무도 왔어. 꼬마. 근데 저랑 마구 무시 맞고 그저 꼬마 잡아야나?
되네.
무시 맞디 공유라와라 그는 다 잘라들어와라 왔어.
천하기.
꼬마 그게 되게 꼬마 꿈에들라 코 잘라도 케라이로 왔어. 저랑 그 잘라라와 왔어. 얘는 게는 게 콜을 펜도 요래서 코 잘라 케라와 그런 것도 지금 말어 왔어. 그런 케라와 그런 개발에 있는 저랑 그 잘라라다 왔어.
So he said, for example, if a thief came and stole your wallet, right? It's your loss, but that thief's gain, right? And so, of course, the thief, from just a material perspective, just gained something, gained all the money in your wallet, but then it was your loss. But you didn't have the intention of, may that thief, by stealing, have that gain, the material gain of all my money when the thief stole the wallet, right?
대도 집어 가지고 코로랑이 되는 니콜라 펜도고 쳐도지 조바고야지도 코로랑이 좀 그런 거 개요 말도.
And so then similarly, when the person who might become a cause for your anger to arise, who creates the condition for your anger to arise, doesn't have any benefit, any thought, any motivation, like I'm going to give him the opportunity to practice patience instead of getting angry, right? But but by your reaction to that, you're the one who gains. Right? Whether you gain or you lose is up to you. Right?
Okay. Then what? Yes, you have something.
Oh, I just thought that was really interesting, your comment, because if someone comes and steals something from you, and you practice patience by not being angry at them, they created a cause for you to be able to practice patience, but then they created negative karma by stealing. So your positive karma comes from their negative karma, which also I think Shantideva
refers to, Yep. Yeah, it does. It is treated in the text. So it is actually that precise point of, from our perspective, we gain benefit from the situation if we're able to practice correctly.
You say, oh, let him have it.
Right.
And just be okay about it.
Right. But then from the other perspective, if that person weren't a practitioner who did it just on purpose, with the motivation to benefit you, but was really doing a negative action of stealing or doing something that created actual harm, right? Then that person just created negative karma, right? And so we gained from the situation, but the other person who was a cause for our benefit then just created negative karma instead. And so that kind of a scenario is actually addressed in, I think in this chapter, you know,
Yeah,
as well. And
Tiga Kog, the page of the Tama Water, Sholoka, the other doing the drums, the drums, they don't pay on those.
oh, so Geshe said that in verse 107, in regards to this, he has a kind of like a story, illustrating story to tell about it.
Lama second was used, Lama second was and the Kondamu Jichimbo is the Lama second was Jichimboji. And the Chabayo Kujalaka Trone, good user. Takujalaka kiss on the and then call Lama Tart and then call Kaje, Tigi in the Gomdia, which you chose the law. Chumani, Lama Yasho, the Chapa Chapa is the lovers.
And so Geshe said that there's a story of Geshe Ngawang
Maybe Kansaba, second but Peloma, Serkamba.
Serkamba,
Yeah.
the Lumba Rebe.
Lumba is a Lumba.
So in a region.
Lumba means the Lama Tajan.
Okay. So this Lama named Serkamba is actually named after the region where he's from, a region in Tibet called Serkamba. And he was a very, I guess, wealthy. He was someone who was very wealthy, right, this Lama. And one time, a robber came and stole all his belongings. And so then due to that condition, then by meditating on it, it became a very good opportunity for him to meditate and further his practice. And later on, he said, that robber was my best teacher, right, because it provided him with that opportunity to put into practice all the things I have been practicing, yeah?
Tengandu something on the Bena, Kangero training on the shooting was, Shango training was. Kangero,
Kangero,
choose a check on the terrible.
shooting the
Redam Kangi Tinga is rich day or what? Money is nothing on the Genayasho, Pentosha, something.
And so, of course, when we practice Dharma, it's in face of real difficulties that we should practice Dharma, right? And so those who give us the conditions of the difficult condition, situation, are the ones who are really helping us, are our best teachers in that way.
Then other choosing Pena Jasa Jan, Chadana Martin Bena. Jason, not to Tuji, Jing Kangajing, Yamana Jing, Kanashundo of Kanga, Yamana Soso, Kerki Kangi, the Legit and Ale, Komja Gondu, Chucha Gondu, some of the legit called Kodingos. Chuji, and that Chuja Manach Gojango, it's an object of
So usually, maybe about 50-60% of the time, it's when we are faced with difficulties, right? When we're dealing with difficult situations in our lives, whether it be personalized or whether it be in a more within the family, within group or society or whatever, when it's faced with these difficult situations, that then we turn to Dharma and we really put into practice the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teachings and what we've learned, right? Usually about 50-60% of the time. In a tanda nekapse di tanda konangi jiwa di la tanda di nö chenken. Nasonan pento chegirete ina de nö chenken yana kuma de chapo de lanen tanda di tanda dipasayora. Digor tanda di chunchunanga jigdua chesang dila tene de kongso ngasonen 네 코란소는 교훈 라바인 상코란소다 다 닝제 고야 된가 코란소다 다 펜도 체고 바라지 상 고고도라지 민데
그래다 다 팀의 콜라 문제는 콜라야 다 소바금 이제 공고레스 내게 제니 콜라 드파사 저한테 나빠서 무슨 콜라 봐 소바금 고레스.
And so therefore from that perspective of the person who stole, the thief who stole all your belongings or whatever, well, yes, because of that condition provided by that thief, we had an opportunity to practice and gain merit, right? By not getting angry and rather, generating positive minds and so forth. But from that thief's perspective, from that side, he or she just created negative karma, So it's like, it feels like, well, we benefited at that person's, negative karma, right? And so rather think about it than that, the person who created that harm should be the object of our compassion and loving kindness, thinking, well, we benefited from that person's action, negative action, but that person is going to actually suffer as a result of that negative action he or she created. And so then, generating loving compassion in his mind in regards to that person, would that person be free from suffering that could result from his negative actions, may they also
Pechasana.
have happiness and so forth.
난주기 쳇다 미지 난주기 니바데 킨르다. 난주 좀 투지실라 그러고.
For example, if someone else were able to take on our negative consequences that could have fallen upon us, right? Then we would be thankful for that person kind of taking the blunt, right? Taking on that negative situation, right?
Right. 그래서 가지 난주기 쳇다 코 니바라야 되다 것도 코니 이제 투지실라 그러세. 오늘
And so then, since those who might have harmed us, since because of their action, we ourselves were able to practice patience and gain benefit from that situation. And so it's like, in some ways, they are carrying the negative consequences of what we could have been suffering from, And so therefore we should say, well, thank you, and try to generate compassion towards them, right? That may they also be free from suffering and so forth, from those negative actions. And be grateful for that opportunity, grateful for them, not rather than getting angry.
난주 딘주들면은 코 니바다 싸고 말어.
Yeah.
난주 때면은 코 니바다 싸고 말어.
And we became, in the same way that that person became a condition for us to practice patience, by our being here, we became the condition for them to create their negative action, right? Like for a thief, if we weren't there with our purse or with our wallet, they couldn't have stolen. We became a condition for them, for their theft, right? Right. So if you think about it from the other perspective, we became a condition for them to complete their negative action, their negative deed, right? Which will result in negative result of suffering and so forth, right? Whereas they, by creating condition for us to become angry, but by that condition, if we were able to practice patience, then they created condition for us to be increasing our patience and our merit, right? And so, like that.
Okay, any question?
Should we think of it in that way though, that karmically, so a thief comes and takes my belongings? I don't feel comfortable feeling like, oh well, now they're coming back. I would rather, so I guess because shouldn't we rather say, well, this thief stole all my belongings, but we don't know the cause behind their reasoning for their theft, so we can't really judge whether it's...
Right. I mean, we're not saying, oh well, they stole and that's fine. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying, if that person were to really have acted out of negative motivation, to really steal for one's own benefit, if it were an actual theft, right, and not someone who's just merely, a bodhisattva who is just planning to help you or something, but an ordinary being.
Someone who is legitimately stealing
Right.
from you for maybe they need to see their
Right.
family or anything.
Yeah.
Right. So regardless of what the reason might be, the definition of stealing is basically obtaining recognizing that this belongs to someone else, it's not yours, but taking it for your own benefit, right? And so then that regardless of what the underlying causes or conditions, situation might be, the person might be doing it to benefit his or her family, but the stealing is still done, right? And so therefore that person would have created the negative karma of stealing itself. And that negative karma will bear its own negative result of some type of suffering, right, in the future. Therefore, it's correct, even based on reasoning, it's correct to then be able to generate compassion towards that person, because realizing that that person created a negative action which will only result in a negative, result of suffering, a painful situation for that person in the future, right? Yeah.
I feel like that lesson doesn't really drive home unless you have a very firm understanding of cause and effect.
Yes, of course.
Otherwise, it's just like thinking, oh, it will, this will impact them negatively in the future. And that doesn't really help with it.
Well, not even in the future, but even present right now if that person were to be caught, thrown in jail. Isn't that suffering? Right.
You want to react? Is that what you're saying? You kind of like someone stole your wallet, you want to kind of call the police and kind of do that, or is that?
No, I think it's more like in the moment when someone steals from you, your like mind is running through all these things and you're trying to like justify it. And if you say to yourself, this will somehow impact them negatively
In future lives or something, you know?
Yeah, it's not very motivating.
Yeah.
It's trying to create an antidote to reacting with anger. It doesn't, you know, that's the only thing you're trying to do is the anger. It doesn't mean you can't remedy the situation and call the police or, you know,
And it
get
doesn't
the thing back.
necessarily mean you're rejoicing
Yeah,
in
yeah,
suffering
yeah.
either, right?
You have to try to solve the problem,
Yeah.
but try to
Yes.
not get mad.
Right, but yeah, like here, where
Yeah.
like where it's all happening, like in that way, I feel like to really like let it go, you know, to process it well. Yeah, you have to like understand.
Right, so I mean, remember, when things are happening, I mean, it's really difficult to, in the moment that anger is actually manifesting, it's hard to curb that. It's hard to fight it at that moment. That's why all of these are practices. It's like the homework you have to do before you go and take the midterm, right? Before the heat of the real situation. So when Geshe says meditate, it's like these are the reasonings. These are the ways of reasonings, new thoughts, new way of thinking about a situation that you study, you learn, you reflect, and then you try to then generate a different way of thinking about this and habituate your mind to a different way of reacting. And then if such a situation were to arise, then because you've been practicing it, independent of that situation, that now instead of immediately reacting your normal way of getting angry or getting caught up in anger in that situation, you can now have an antidote or a different way, a different mind approach, right? Within which then you can still go about the practical aspects of, you know, making the police report and doing the practical things, right? But not out of anger, right? But rather with a compassionate mind that has compassion for that person who might have stolen for whatever reason they did, but because of that negative action, they're going to have, you know, harmful consequences that they will have to deal with, whether in this very life or in future lives. Whether you believe in future lives or not, there are immediate consequences even in this life for creating certain negative acts, right? Harmful actions. And so that's the point, is that, you know, you can still engage in actions to, you know, you can still engage in actions for a solution within any situation. Just, it's what kind of mindset are you in when you're engaging in those actions to solve that situation? And then the methods to cultivate that beneficial state of mind, right? Which is the peaceful, calm, you know, tranquil state of mind, not one that is led by anger, not one that is very perturbed by anger and other types of afflicted mental states. Yeah, Geshe mentioned last week, remember Geshe?
Other questions?
He mentioned, like His Holiness said, if you're going to hit somebody,
Yeah.
right? Then if you're not angry, then you're able to hit your target more easily than when you're angry, right?
You know, when you get angry, you try to write some message, you will say all the bad things. When you complain, oh, I shouldn't say that, that's so bad. Right? And when you calm down, you can explain, okay, hey, do you remember you said that, but it's not like that way. You can say that red words too nicely without being fired. We already write, we already sent it down. The other brother already accept. You cannot take down. Tibetan, you know, we say, if you threw the
So if you've already spit, you can't take it back.
If you got
So whereas if you're, you know, like the horse, the reins of a horse, if you drop it, there's a way to still take it back, right?
But our mouth is very bad, you know. You just said, especially right
You
now,
can't take back the words.
to bad words. Therefore, you need to just prepare.
Prepare.
prepare for before coming that situation. Also not looking for the situation, okay, who's going to get me angry? No, you don't have to look there, Just situation we need to remind all every time. We don't have to look at things. If some situation comes, they can, okay, step down. Can be step down a little bit, okay. Just keep, it's possible. Big situation we cannot do like that. Small situation. Maybe someone block your doorway. I have to go home, get out of there. You don't have to do that, Small things we do very small things, right? The front car, they stop there, the light is already green. You say, what the hell going on? What are you doing that? Yeah, it's right. Like small things we didn't really pay attention, or maybe we are hurry. No, it's no big deal, but we cannot accept. We don't do small things, then to keep by. Okay? Any other question? Okay, if no question, then we're going to stop, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
The most study is very important, Just, your religion, no religion, doesn't matter. Just study, then learn the things to reality our situation. Okay? Like that. Thank you.
Please turn to page 39 of the prayer book. Saji Paki Shuk Sing Mek Truk Tram Re Rappling Jini De Gim Padi Sange Sing Du Mek Te O Wargi Droku Nam Dak Shing La Che Pa Shuk Jetsun Lame Kutse Rap Ten Ching Nam Katrin Ne Chuk Chuk Ye Padang Lo Sang Ten Pedrun Me Sa Sum Gi Drowe Mun Sal Tak Tu Ne Kyo Chi Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. From my two collections, vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time may become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded course to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara ascend. Savor the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion. To the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be fulfilled. Page 49. Tup tu chang jim jam gong gyao wei Tenzin kyung pao wei gonzo do for ze chok sum kur wei lek mun tu dru Padak sok du je gundu jab den shu. Your form embodies all Buddhas, your nature is that of Vajradhara, you are the root of the three jewels, homage to you, O Gurus. In short, I seek your blessings, so protected, to be cared for by you from birth unremittingly throughout all my lives, and thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. O Protector, please grant that all be auspicious for me to be foremost among your very first circle of disciples wherever you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my temporal and ultimate wishes, without exceptions, may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Furthermore, in life after life, may I, pleasing him in return, be forever fostered by an accomplished Mahayana spiritual master, the source of every virtue in this world and beyond. In his care, may I acquire in him a firm, unshakable faith, pleasing him by every means possible, doing nothing even for an instant to disappoint. May my spiritual master impart to me every instruction and every teaching in its entirety. Having understood them faultlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never even for a moment fall under the sway of malevolent teachers and misleading friends. Having developed in every life belief in cause and effect, renunciation, the Bodhi mind, and the pure view, may I embark upon them continually with effortless experience. In every life, may every virtuous act, gathered by way of body, speech, and mind, be caused solely for the welfare of others and for the purest and highest enlightenment. Page 57, bottom. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Page 75. Mig med sig ved chen raising dream make ambe wang po jam bao yang gang chen ge bei zu gian song ka pa lob sang ra pe ja bla so.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Geshe. Thanks, everyone. We have, right following the class at 12:30, we have a Guru Puja. Puja means to please, and so everyone's very welcome to stay. It's done mostly in Tibetan, 2/3 in Tibetan, a third in English. It is a beautiful practice that we'll do together. So that's at 12:30. Then look out this week on Thursday, the biggest one. So we've got the class on Monday. On Wednesday, we are starting a new series with Geshe. Geshe has kindly offered to teach In Praise of Dependent Origination. It's a text written by Lama Zopa on the day that he became enlightened, and it's about the relationship between dependent arising and emptiness and how they complement each other. So it will be an incredible teaching topic for us to cover, and that will be our Wednesday teaching topic for the foreseeable future. Then on Thursday, it is Day of Miracles, so it ends this period of 2 weeks during Losar. And on the morning, 5:30 a.m., since it's getting pretty light pretty early, we will be doing the 8 Mahayana precepts, and then right following that, we'll do a recitation of the Vajrakata or the Dhammapada Sutra. Takes about 40 minutes. You're welcome to stay or not. So it's also a wonderful practice to do the 8 Mahayana precepts. No need for having taken any vows or anything other than that. And if you have any questions, you can stop me afterwards. And then on that evening, we'll also have a Medicine Buddha Puja. And other than that, just keep an eye on the calendar. We've got a ton of things coming up in April and the rest of the year. So thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, Geshe. Thank you, Aniesha.
Thank you. Okay, get up slowly.